For more than 4 centuries, one Filipino kingdom refused to give up. When big countries rose and fell, when colonizers took over islands, one kingdom stood strong, powerful, independent, and respected all over Asia. This is the story of the Kingdom of Sulu, the Filipino empire Spain could never conquer. In the far south of the Philippines, there's a story unlike any other, a story of a kingdom that refused to die. While the rest of the islands were taken over by Spain, the Sulu Sultanate stayed strong, proud, and free for hundreds of years. It wasn't a small group of people or a faraway island village. It was an empire, with diplomats, fighters, smart people, and traders doing business all over Asia. Its story shows that long before today's country lines, Filipinos were already part of a global network of power and importance. The birth of the Kingdom of Sulu. The Kingdom of Sulu started in the early 1400s, long before Magellan ever sailed. It grew from the islands between Mindanao, Borneo, and the Celebes Sea, a place where traders from China, Arabia, and the Malay world met. According to old records, the first known ruler was Sultan Shariful Hashim, a smart Arab Malay man who came to Sulu around 1450. He married into the local royal family and brought the communities of the region together under one Islamic Sultanate. Mixing foreign knowledge with local leaders. But Sulu didn't just take on Islam, it made it its own. The Sultanate combined old Filipino customs, sailing skills, and ways of dealing with other countries to form a kingdom that would last for centuries. Sulu's real strength wasn't built on fighting, it was built on trade. The Sulu Sea was one of Asia's busiest ocean routes. Here, goods from China, India, Indonesia, and Arabia passed through Filipino hands. The Sultanate sold pearls, birds' nests, camphor, wax, and sea cucumbers. Valuable items in Chinese and Middle Eastern markets. In return, it bought silk, fancy dishes, spices, and weapons. When it was strongest, Sulu controlled trade routes going from the southern Philippines to Borneo and parts of Malaysia. Chinese old records show that Sulu sent official gift-giving trips to the Ming dynasty as early as 1417, decades before Spain came to the Pacific. One Chinese story tells of 3 Sulu kings visiting Beijing, bringing pearls and turtle shells to the emperor. That moment showed something important. Long before colonization, the Philippines already had royal representatives recognized by China. Unlike the broken picture painted by writers from the colonizing countries, the Sultanate of Sulu was well organized and smart. The Sultan ruled with a Rumah Bicara, a group of important people and advisors. They made sure laws were followed using written rules influenced by both Islamic and local laws. Titles like Datu, Panglima, and Maharaja weren't just for show. They meant specific leadership jobs across different areas and islands. Women also had a lot of power in Sulu society. Royal wives and mothers were involved in dealing with other countries and making family connections that shaped the kingdom's future. This structure allowed Sulu to govern many islands, different groups of people, and trade ports. A united kingdom in a sea of different cultures. In the 1500s, Spanish ships sailed south after taking over Manila. They expected an easy win. What they found instead was a powerful sea kingdom with ships, armies, and friends. In 1578, Spain launched its first big attack on Jolo, Sulu's capital city. They bombed the island, burned villages, and said they won. But the Sulu forces just went into the mountains and rebuilt. Over the next 300 years, Spain would attack Sulu many times, in 1628, 1646, 1737, 1848, and even as late as 1876. Every time, the Sultanate would fall for a short time, then rise again. Sulu's defense wasn't only through fighting, it was through smart planning. It used diplomacy to make big countries fight against each other, making friends with the British, Dutch, and Chinese traders to stay independent. When Spain called them pirates, they were, in truth, protectors of their own country, defending their seas from outsiders. Sulu's reach went far beyond the Philippines. It had agreements with China, Brunei, and even the British Empire. In the 1700s, the Sulu Sultanate made a historic agreement with the British through the East India Company, giving them parts of North Borneo in exchange for help. That agreement, misunderstood and argued about for centuries, later became the reason for the modern Sabah land issue. But at the time, it showed how smart Sulu was politically. While other regions were colonies, Sulu was negotiating as an equal, an independent country. The Sultan sent representatives to Singapore, Hong Kong, and Mecca. Their letters, written in beautiful Arabic writing, still exist in old records in London and Madrid. A reminder that Sulu's rulers were important leaders, not rebels. At the heart of Sulu's ability to last were its people, the Tausug, meaning people of the current. They were expert sailors and fighters, raised by the sea. To the Tausug, the ocean was not a border, it was home. They built fast boats called vintas, decorated with colorful sails, showing their family and pride. These boats weren't just for traveling, they were for trade, exploring, and defense. When the Spanish Navy entered Sulu waters, they often found themselves outsmarted by Tausug fleets that knew every island and ocean current. But what really made the Tausug special was their belief in honor, Maratabad. To lose freedom was to lose dignity. That belief kept Sulu standing when others fell. During the 1700s, under rulers like Sultan Azimuddin I and Sultan Shakirullah, Sulu reached its best time. Its power spread over the Sulu archipelago, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, parts of Mindanao, and even into Sabah in Borneo. Trade flowed constantly through its ports. Chinese, Arab, and Malay traders thought Jolo was one of the most important markets in the region. European visitors described its palaces, markets, and mosques with surprise. Expecting a small village, they found a city. Sulu made its own money, had courts of law, and even had schools for religious and scientific learning. It was a real kingdom, organized, recognized, and doing well. As Spain spread deeper into the Philippines, it became more and more annoyed with Sulu's independence. By the 1800s, Spain built forts in Zamboanga and sent huge naval expeditions. In 1876, they captured Jolo Town, the capital, and said Sulu was officially under Spanish control. But even then, the Sultanate never gave up. The Spanish flag flew over Jolo's fort, but the Sultan ruled from the mountains and nearby islands. The people obeyed their Sultan, not the colonizers. When Spain finally left in 1898 after the Spanish-American War, Sulu still existed, beaten up but not broken. When the Americans arrived, they also recognized the Sultan's power. In 1899, the Bates Treaty was signed between the Sulu Sultanate and the United States, agreeing to Sulu's local independence in exchange for peace. It was only later, when the United States took full control as a colonizer, that Sulu's freedom was slowly brought into the new Philippine system. Even so, the Sultanate continues to this day. Not as a government with land, but as a symbol of Filipino strength, smart dealings, and identity. The story of Sulu is not just about war, it's about being smart. It shows that leadership isn't measured by winning fights, but by lasting a long time. While other kingdoms fell to foreign powers, Sulu used intelligence, trade, and faith to keep its dignity. Its descendants, the Tausug, Sama, Yakan, and Bajau, carry that history in their culture, music, and bravery. Every colorful vinta that sails the sea is a reminder of the empire that Spain could never truly conquer. The Kingdom of Sulu was more than just a story of fighting back. It was a Filipino civilization that mastered the sea, respected laws, traded with the world, and stood proud among nations. Spain called it disobedience, history calls it independence. And even today, as the waves crash against the shores of Jolo, they whisper the same truth, that the Filipino spirit was never meant to be conquered.